Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 495. That means we're 5 away from 500, folks, on September 12th, 2024. On today's episode, or this week's episode, we have guest host John Blanco, where we'll talk about PlayStation. Yes, PlayStation. We're not just, Nintendo Dads for nothing. We talk about PlayStation stuff because it will impact what will happen with Nintendo. So, without further ado, Jesse, you know what to do. All right, folks, this is Tim and the Nintendo Dads with Jesse and John. We are going to jump into the news shortly, but I wanted to say what's up to John. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing good. I feel like I was just here. I literally feel like I never left.
Yeah, you were just here, we just continued recording. That's all we do, right?
Yeah. I turned the camera off for a couple weeks and here we go.
Jesse, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm still a little sore from last week's camping where, we were in a cabin. It was air conditioned. It was supposed to be nice and comfortable, but it's hard to be comfortable when the bed decides to collapse out from under you at 11 o'clock at night.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that picture.
That sucked. And
I
was just in a bad mood the rest of the weekend. I tried shooting arrows. I launched 6 arrows, recovered 5, and didn't even bother with an afternoon shoot. And then I didn't want to go to court. My wife goes, I think I'm getting called up. You should be at court. I went to court. Couldn't hear anything due to the distance from, we were in the back, plus all the chatter behind us. So we couldn't hear anything. And the reason why she would have been called didn't happen anyway, because the person with the scrolls wasn't there. So I didn't want to be in court anyway. I just wanted to sit in the cabin. Couldn't even do that. So yeah, my whole weekend was awful. So hoping this weekend.
Did someone lose their head for that at all? Did anybody get the guillotine?
Got shot by arrows.
They should have.
All right. Well, let's just jump right into the news, which we don't have very much of, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Go for it. All right, this is the news, and it's brought to you by the Patreons at patreon.com at Nintendo Dads or /Nintendo Dads. Huge thanks to all our Patreons, including the newest one, Troy, who has joined our Patreon group. So thank you, Troy. And thanks to all of our members and subscribers to both Patreon and Twitch and wherever you subscribe to us at. Thank you so much, because it helps us to be able to do what we do here and to be able to do prizes and all that fun stuff, which we're in the works. There's lots of prizes we're working on, including, don't forget, the Zelda Switch Lite that you can win just by being a subscriber. By the time that comes out, if you're subscribing to us, you'll be in the drawing for the Zelda Switch Lite that's coming out on
2 weeks left.
Yep.
Oh, baby.
So make sure you get your Patreon subscription in there, and with that, don't forget you get all kinds of bonuses. And what I'm going to say, instead of reading them all off, if you're really interested and you want to put your name in that prize just for $1, you want to know what you get for that $1, go to our Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. In fact, the link is in the description for this episode. It's always there because Jesse always puts it there. Thank you, Jesse. And you can always go there and see more information on what you get there. All right, let's jump right into the headlines. All right, that's it for headlines. Let's go to release updates. No, we got the headline. One headline is the Sony PlayStation PS5 Pro announcement. We're going to talk about that a little bit more because it goes along with what Marty posted for the question of the week. And so we'll talk about more details about that announcement and how that is going to impact, or how we think it's going to impact, when Nintendo announces the Switch successor. So that's why we have John here too, because he likes both of those systems and we wanted to get his opinion on the matter as well. All right. So before we get out of the headlines, let's talk about some releases such as out now. The Sunsoft is back retro game selection, where you get 3 Sunsoft classic playable games.
A weird title, but that's what it is.
Yes, it is. You get 3 playable games in English for the first time. First game is called Firework Thrower Quintero's 53 Stations of the Takado.
I know.
That is a title
Don't look at
there
me.
too. Ripple Island and The Wing of Medulla.
Hang on. Wait.
$10.
So this is that Sunsoft game that got released a few days ago?
Yes.
And these are the games in it?
Yes.
Yes.
I did not
Oh.
know what games were in that. Like, I thought it was like Blaster Master or something. Like,
No, yeah, it was. Yeah, all 3 games were never released in North America until this
wow.
package.
Okay.
And $10. I have no idea what these games are, so I can't speak to it. Because I don't know what style games. I don't know how old they are.
Well,
Jesse,
they're
do
all
you have any
Famicom
idea?
games.
They're all
They're all
Famicom.
Famicom.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I know.
All right. Next up, 2 out now, which I have to go get because I forgot it came out. Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. $50 on the eShop there. All right. Are you guys interested in this game at all?
Not me.
Nope.
All right. I am. I'm looking forward to it. So, and I suck at it, but I'm still looking forward to it because of nostalgia. So, because it was one of those games I played a lot with friends. So, all right, out soon. Funko Fusion, September 13th. I know there's a like hate it or love it type of attitude about this game, but I kind of think it's kind of cool with the different things that come with it. What are you laughing about, John?
I have no comment on this. I think it looks awful. But like,
See,
I hope it's
love
great.
it or hate
but
it.
Every trailer I've seen, it's like, what is this?
Hopefully, it is not as bad as some people are perceiving it. It is, and hopefully, it's fun
You never know.
for the right audience. So, the next one I know everybody's looking forward to, the Plucky Squire, September 17th. So that'll be soon.
Yep.
5 days, right? Now from
Yeah.
the time of recording this.
Tuesday.
Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed, September 24th. I'm looking forward to that. I had fun with the demo. And also there's a first look of the demo out. I forgot who did that one. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, September 26th. Of course, a ton of people looking forward to that one. And so we'll have plenty of hands-on with that one and opinions on that one once we get that one going.
Yeah, since I have that pre-ordered in the eShop, I don't know if they do it in North America, but in Japan they do. They send you an email with 2 weeks in advance saying, "Don't forget this is coming," and then they'll charge you, and 1 week later, and then start the download process so it's ready to go when it launches the week after that.
Yep, they do that for North America games too. Because I saw that one because I pre-ordered Yars and it did it with Yars. So
okay.
And out later is Super Mario Party Jamboree. You guys excited for that one? This Mario Party looks pretty fun.
I am not, but I think that's more of a Justin and Marty game based on the ages of their children.
Got it. Well, I like the fact that we'll be able to do it online as well. So it was a good NSO game. So, John, you and your family going to be into that?
I haven't been into Mario Party in like a decade. I don't know what it is. It's fun when I play it. I have a good time, but like, I don't know. I'm just not a Mario Party guy.
I think the last one I played was 8.
Which one was that? Was that on the Wii U?
Either Wii or Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do any. We've been playing more of the ones that are on NSO in the community. So, because you can play those online.
I've played there's a couple of the newer ones with like Drew and Hambone and Kuzi, and they are so good at it. They know exactly what they want. They're like, they speak a different language as we play. And they know exactly what route they need to take and where the star is likely going to be. And I'm just sitting there just like losing mini games. And, you know, it's like,
yeah,
okay, I can't do it.
Yeah. Do you feel like you might have better luck if you just don't touch anything like that?
I guess.
Luigi meme?
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of game
wins
you
by
want to
doing
win.
nothing.
you want to win so bad just to make everyone mad because they're like, you stunk at everything and you stole all our stars or something like that. But it didn't happen for me. It never does.
All right. And the next one we got is Mario and Luigi Brothership coming out November 7th.
That one I am interested in. Probably the second most of all of this list.
All right.
Yep.
And the first one being Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, I'm guessing.
Yes.
November 14th. All right. And then Pixel Cross Rune Factory 2025.
Yeah, that was announced yesterday.
Okay.
So there's basically two types of Picross games that I like. The ones from Jupiter, they're like the Picross S, and then the Pixel from Rainy Frog. They've also done Pixel Lines and a few other, like Pixel Quest. They've changed it up a bit, but
Okay.
you know those and Marty likes the like the Pixel Lines stuff too.
Okay.
So that'll be out sometime next year.
Nice. All right.
I'm sorry, Tim. I lost track of this list. Somehow we ended up in 2025. I thought we were doing like the week. What was this list?
So I jumped into the out later list.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going through the rest of the year.
We do out now, which is coming out basically right now, or by the time you're listening to the recording, then out soon. And then
we
out
don't
later.
normally have as many
Okay.
games as I put on here, but the fact that we had no news, I figured I could add a few extra games just to give us a few extra minutes of something to talk about.
Exactly.
There we go.
Exactly.
I do want to add, and because this is important to me, but the new Legend of Zelda Wisdom game comes out like the 27th or 29th? 26th.
Yep.
Which will then go into the Until Dawn remake, which comes out like October 4th, which then comes into the Life is Strange Double Exposure, which early accesses in mid-October, making what will probably be the greatest month of gaming in my life. And it's all just boom, boom, boom. So I am super excited for that. Mario Party.
No, you need Mario Party in there. Come on. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. And that is how you're supposed to do it, folks. Have a lineup of games to get you through the year.
Bam, bam. Is the fall the best time of year for gaming? It feels like September, October every year is like the best time for gaming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember like 2018 or 2019, we joked that September was packed. And I remember one of my arts was I had a list of games all releasing in September from my future games release chart. And they were like sandwiched between buns from Burger Time.
Sandwiched between buns. All right. That could be a good title right there. Sandwiched between buns. All right. With that, let's jump into Let's Discuss. All right, as we talked about it earlier, we wanted to jump into the news about Sony releasing or announcing their PlayStation 5 Pro. And not only is that big news, but the price is a bigger news. It is got everybody talking about it. The base price for Sony's PS5 Pro is $700.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else in the Discord was watching it live, and I literally turned it on with during the end of show montage, just in time to see the price, and I clipped it and pasted it and just watched the reactions. It was awesome.
Now, what's included with the $700? You get upgraded GPU which has 67% more GPU over the current PS5. You know, there's technical stuff to this, but I'm trying to keep it, layman's terms here. Has more powerful ray tracing capabilities. So cooler graphics. Has more powerful, uses AI upscaling, which they call PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution.
I
you guys love that name?
when I saw that one.
That's awesome name. Come on, it's like what was the
It's
PS3 called? Didn't that have like a super cool name too?
like, wasn't it the emotion engine, or is that
The Emotion
PS2?
Engine, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a PS3, right? That
This
had the
one I like to
Emotion.
call Pisser.
There you go. Yes. You uses AI upscaling, which they call Pisser. I love it. Let's go with that. Includes a 2 terabyte SSD, a controller, and Astro's Playroom. It is digital only. However, the available disk drive for the current digital only PS5 Slim can be added to the PS5 Pro for additional cost. And
80
it does
bucks.
not come with the vertical stand.
I don't know how much that costs.
$30.
So 700 plus if you want a disk drive and a vertical stand, which we've learned maybe not a good idea depending on who you believe to have a vertical stand.
I've had mine vertically up and I've never had a problem with it.
I have
Yeah,
had mine too. So, but I
I'm still
changed
not
it
sure if that's just like an imagined internet meme, you
or
know?
just happens to be the thing that happens to certain people.
Yeah, because
Right.
like all of their advertising, Sony does, it's vertical. So like,
Right.
why wouldn't they start showing it horizontal to try to encourage people not to break their systems? I don't know. I find it weird.
All right. So
Yeah, and that
let's
$700 is the US price. If you look at, the British pound or euro or the yen, and then those also include some taxes as well. But still, when you convert them back into US dollars, they're 850 to 900. So they're just getting smacked.
right. And did you mention
Brexit,
Canada?
man.
I didn't even look at Canada's price.
I
So
don't think they didn't mention a Canada price.
yeah, it's
So
just add.
let's kind of see what that ballpark would be.
All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to mention Marty put up the poll on our Nintendo Dad's channel in X and asked after yesterday's news of the PS5 Pro split the gaming community in two, we got curious. How much are you willing to pay for Nintendo's upcoming Switch successor? He had the choices of $299 or less, $300 to $399, $400 to $499, and $500 plus. What do you guys think the community went with? If you, unless you looked at it, maybe you looked at it already.
I kind of already looked because I was going to paste it in, but you already did it.
All right. So yeah,
So,
it's
it was more evenly split than I thought.
yeah. So when I pasted this about a few minutes before we started, it was about 48%. Well, let me just add it up. 88%, 89% said they would pay between $300 to $500 for a Switch 2. $300 to $500.
I mean, that's guaranteed it's going to be in that range.
Right. So that's pretty good. Everything else was, outliers with the less than 300 or more than 500. So, but that's
I feel like the
89%.
question is the question can be asked a little bit backwards, because if you were to ask me, what would you be willing to pay? I think the question is more is like, what do I want to pay? Because I kind of want to pay closer to 500 because I want it to be powerful. You know what I mean? Like, if
Right.
you told me the Switch 2 was $250, I'd be like, oh geez, like what is it gonna look like? So
Yeah.
I kind of
Is,
want it to be like
is it going to melt in
400.
your hands?
Right. Like, so I want it to be a
You
little
want the
bit more.
choice. You want the
I do.
choice.
I do. I
Yeah.
think they should have two
See,
SKUs on it.
if I were to make that poll, I wouldn't have broken it at the hundreds. I would have broken it at the 50s. So a 250 to 350, 250 to 349, 350 to 449, 450 to 549. I think then it would be more skewed one way or the other versus being really even in that, but in the 3 to 400 group and the 4 to 500 group.
Okay.
I just
don't
want to
know.
call out for anybody that did notice that Jesse said 449.99 because he did not want to overlap 450. That is developer brain right there on display for us. Bravo. I
Nice
appreciate
job.
it.
That's what I
And
do.
all you developers out there, like John, will catch that too.
I have fallen into the off by one error by missing or adding an equal sign more times than I care to admit. That's never happening again. Anyway, so I took $700 converted to Canadian dollars, and it's $9.50. So it won't surprise me at all if they just say $9.99 Canadian dollars when it goes on when it goes up for sale.
I'm sorry, Canada. So it's a lot of money. So, but let me get your opinions on this. So, are you going to be purchasing the PS5 Pro on day one?
I have no plans on buying the Pro, period.
Okay.
I didn't need to buy the 4 Pro. My launch day 4 was just fine, and it still works. My youngest daughter still plays it. It sounds like a jet engine, but it works.
It's a helicarrier.
No plans means he might get it. No plans means I don't have a plan to, but I will.
If I do, I'm not spending $700 for it. I would need a price drop, but I do not plan on buying this. Just like I never bought the 4 Pro.
Yeah, I didn't buy the PS4 Pro. At this point I plan on getting the PS5 Pro. I think that's probably more of a matter. I'm just way more into PS5 gaming than I was PS4. I bought a PS4 to play Nidhogg. So to put that in perspective.
And I haven't played my PS5 in probably 3 or 4 months. Like that poker game that poker game I used to play every day, I have not touched it in like 3 months.
Wow.
Because the game stopped updating itself. The meta version gets updates every other week, it seems like, and we're lucky to get one a quarter. So I kind of stopped playing that game.
What do they update? Like the rules of poker?
Well, just adding new things to buy, adding new toys, adding new games, new variants of poker. Like they did add Omaha at one point, but still that was like 6 months after Meta had it.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you guys. I got breaking news. The Mega Dads have announced that they are releasing Mega Dads Pro next year. Twice the price, twice the atom, and half the enthusiasm. Just so heads up, we got the exclusive news here on Nintendo Dads at Mega Dads.
Thanks, Antonio.
100% guaranteed Adam is buying a PS5 Pro.
I didn't catch he wrote something about that, and I didn't have time to read it yet. So I wonder if he actually is. Did he say he is?
I don't know.
Did you catch what because I thought he posted something on Threads or something about that. I didn't have time to read it.
I have no idea.
I will say this.
Maybe Hypecaster knows.
I mean, there's going to be people that buy it. I think the power. This is for the power users. The $700 is kind of a shocking price. But if you put it into perspective, I would say this. The PS5 Pro does not replace the PS5. The PS5 is $450 if you get the digital version. And this one is $250 more. But part of that, and a big part of that, is the 2 terabytes of storage that they're giving you. So they're adding an extra terabyte, which they didn't really talk up too much because I guess there's nothing really to talk up in the ad. But that adds $100 to the price if you look at the Series X, which has the new Series X model, which has 2 terabytes, right? So we know that a terabyte is worth $100. So really what you're paying for with that extra 150 is the performance upgrade. And as someone who has told Nintendo I would buy a $450 or $500 Switch to get more power, the same is true with PlayStation. Maybe some diminishing returns kind of ruins it. I think a powered up Switch would be amazing. Whereas we're talking about like 4K pixels here on a PlayStation. But it's not meant for, like I've seen so many people talking about it, like, oh my God, Sony's crazy, a $700 console or whatever. But like, But like, let me ask you this question: like, what does a PC video card cost? Give me a price for a PC video card.
For the best of the best you can get, the 4090, $1,600.
Right. But you can buy one for $300.
Yep.
Right.
So in PC world, there is this huge range. Now, do you need a $1,600 video card? No. It's is a $1,600 video
Yes,
card.
I do. I need that.
Well, you, Tim, you, because you're the 1%. But is a $1,600 video card that much better than, like, say, an $1,100 video card? Probably not. You get that diminishing
in terms
returns.
of gaming, people aren't going to notice. In terms of
Exactly.
other productivity applications, they might see the boost, but in
Maybe.
a game, they're not.
Right. But like once you're in that stratosphere. So the way I see the PS5 Pro is nobody needs a PS5 Pro. The PS5 to me is the most powerful console you can buy already. And the games look great on it. The PS5 Pro is for like the power players that want more, right? It's not meant for the mass market. It's going to set like 10% of the sales are going to be PS5 Pro. It's just not meant for that group. But
What are they? They're estimating what, 5 to 7 million?
yeah, I mean it's not going to be a big number, but PC for as long as time since I was a little boy has had this like range of hardware you can buy to customize it. And that's what I see the Pro as is like the second option.
Yeah,
And
I remember in high school,
Player choice.
I literally have to look at the specs on the back on the game box to see if your PC could support it. And I received games multiple times that my computer couldn't, and because someone else bought it for me, not knowing what I had.
Required and recommended. Those two sections of the box. I remember that a lot.
I love that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's like basically PS5 has another SKU for the power players. And like I said, I wanted a power switch for myself. Would I buy a power switch for my kids? No. Would I buy it for me? Absolutely, yes. So I don't see a problem with it. It's just something people don't need it. But I'll say this: the big thing they talked about in that presentation, and I predicted this, and I was happy that they are basically combining fidelity mode and graphic and frame rate mode together into one, essentially. And like, as someone who always goes with frame rate mode, apparently 75% of people do. I'm excited to play a game like The Last of Us in frame rate mode and see, the ray tracing going on that I have been missing for my entire time. Horizon Forbidden West. I've missed all that cool ray tracing. And so I look forward, if I get this, to enjoying that.
Even if I saw it, I probably wouldn't even notice it because I'm busy concentrating on playing the damn game.
A bigger TV helps. I will say this: the ray tracing is much more easy to notice than like the detail. Like they talked about the detail in the background. And if you really look at their videos, you can see that the detail and the stuff in the background is like way better. But when you're playing, you're not noticing it because you're not focused on it.
And they're showing this comparison in a crunched up YouTube video. So 2% of the people are even going to tell that there's a difference.
Yeah,
I did not. I am not that 2%.
You got to go to the little gear on the bottom of the YouTube video, crank it up to 4K, and then make it as big as your monitor.
I don't have a 4K I don't have a 4K display on my PC.
Yeah, it's really going to be.
I'm still rocking two 1080s here.
I have a Thunderbolt display. I feel you. But like in Gran Turismo, my big example is in Gran Turismo when you race past a car. The ray tracing, you can actually see the reflection of your car in the side door of the car you're going by. And I know Tim will appreciate that. And I want that.
I'm going to get a PS5 Pro now.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about it until on my way to class today, I saw that there was a dent in my wife's car, in the side of the car. So I took a picture of it to show her, hey, look, you got a dent here. But you really can't tell it's a side of a car because it's reflecting off, and it looks like our sidewalk and our side of our house with a little ripple weird effect in the middle.
Oh yeah, from the picture, yeah. So
real ray tracing.
One of the things that I thought when I bought the PS5, I thought I was going to get a lot of these things that they're promoting with the PS5 Pro. So, but it sounds like they had trouble giving me those things. Ended up having trouble giving me those
It's
things
almost
in the
like they
PS5,
overpromised.
right?
You
So,
get the fidelity, but it's 30 frames, and I think most, I mean, we hear it all the time, right? Frame rate doesn't matter, so you can enjoy
Yeah.
that, but like if you
If a
switch
game is
between,
only in 30, it's fine. If a game has options, once you go to 60, you don't go back to 30.
yeah,
It,
yeah,
it doesn't work
exactly.
that way. That's why on Switch, more games are 30, but again, you don't notice it because you don't have the 60 option.
Right.
Like when I played the not five or five Royal, but the other 5 game, not
Uh,
Tactica,
Strikers.
Strikers.
Strikers. Yeah, I played it on the Switch. Didn't have any problems. My son played it on PS4, and he could tell the difference that because he was playing it in 60 and I was playing it on 30, and he could
Yeah.
tell. He goes, "That looks sluggish." And then I saw him play it. I'm like, "Yeah, mine is sluggish."
You're better off not knowing.
Right.
Right.
Which is kind of my point.
Which is why I haven't been able to go back to Fortnite on the Switch because I've been playing it on the PS5
Right.
because it
Yeah.
looks much better on there.
And I think Justin did the exact same thing too. He was playing on the Xbox, and now he just
Yeah.
plays it on the Xbox. There is a difference, but if you don't see the two, you will never know it. But like they even said in the video, you feel it in the reaction time of your controls because you're getting more frames and you can react quicker. You definitely feel it.
Yeah.
But I think
uh,
if but it's a matter of if you want that frame rate combined with that ray tracing and fidelity. Most people don't need it.
Yeah, like the Championship Edition. Right? I mentioned it the first week that launched on Super Mario Brothers. The game's played in 30 frames a second, where the NES game is at 60 frames a second. It felt like my button presses weren't reacting right.
Yeah.
But I launch it in NSO, plays fine because it's playing 60 frames a second.
Right.
So let me ask you guys this too. It's so we have this PS5 Pro, and were you surprised at all? There's actually a couple questions here. Were you guys surprised at all that we got this? I know
No,
we heard
no.
rumors and all that
we
kind
knew
of
it
stuff.
was
So
coming.
It was
Okay.
it was the worst kept secret in gaming.
do you think this is the last time we'll see a iteration like this?
In PS5?
In no, I mean in in consoles in this generation. Like, do you think when they come out with the PS6, do you
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
going to be a
I think
PS6 Pro?
Yeah.
There's been mid generation refreshes since PlayStation 1. So there hasn't been a generation that there hasn't been any sort of refresh.
It's usually just a design change on their console, like to
PS1 added the DualShock, the analog
Yeah.
sticks.
And then the PS2
So
had
it was
the
a
slim,
controller
PS3 had a slim and a super slim. PS4
Yeah.
was really the first one that actually added
that got the
power.
Pro. Yeah.
But still, there was a mid generation refresh of some sort.
Yeah, Xbox One X had it. Yeah. And did we hear that like when the OLED came out, it was supposed to be a Switch Pro, but because of the chip shortage, it became just sort of an OLED model.
That was a rumor, yeah.
Yeah, I think
No,
that's
I want it to be
rumor,
real.
Yet. Yeah.
It's I say it's highly likely, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
When these consoles are lasting 8 years, right? PS4 was 8 years, PS5 will be 8 years, the Switch is probably going to be 8 years. And when you're competing with, PCs that can be updated like annually, from the beginning, remember the Wii? The Wii was amazing the day it came out, and by the end of it, nobody played it anymore.
Yep.
You needed some kind of refresh, but I think the important thing is that there's never a game that's exclusive to that Pro model. And I think PlayStation handled that well with the PS4 Pro,
and then
but
we
the
did
3DS did not.
And then the Wii did get a refresh by taking away the networking, taking
The
away
internet.
the composite.
That's wild.
Or
Taking away the internet capability is wild to me.
Taking away the SD card because they were trying to make it so it couldn't be hacked, and that still failed. It's still hackable.
Yeah.
But remember the 3DS XL Remember the one that had the nub on it? And they actually made some 3DS games that only worked on
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
newer
Yeah.
model. The new, oh, it was the new 3DS, right? Isn't that what
The
they
new
called it?
3DS,
Yeah.
but they had the in between where you could get the Circle Pad Pro on
Yeah,
your original 3DS so that you could have the nub.
right. But that was an
And
accessory.
That was
The
an
other
yeah,
one,
accessory
but
to carry
but
over
it,
until they made the new
but
version.
but it made it compatible with the same games as the Nubby
Yes.
games.
Yes.
It's
So
just
that
yeah.
if you
used.
still had the OG one,
I
you could
believe the
still
accessory actually fed the data into the system via the IR port, which was a weird solution, but it worked.
good old Nintendo. Yes. So
Because who
the
uses
reason
an
why
IR port anymore? Nintendo.
the reason why I asked that is because of Xbox's thing about like we were just talking about give the players choice, right? We were saying, not everybody's going to get a pro, but for people who are into the system and want the next best thing or the most powerful thing, like you were saying, John, you would be willing to pay $400 or $500 for a Switch Pro, or in this case, you're getting the PS5 Pro because you're willing to pay for that. But Xbox's way of doing things is through the cloud. And I know they have a newer version of their consoles coming out, but eventually it sounds like they want to get away from the box and have everything more powerful in the cloud. That's why I was saying, do you think we're going to have a PSX Pro, whatever that might be, in the next generation? Or are we going to go with, since things are going more digital and all that kind of stuff, will it
I
eventually go?
I don't
there's a
think they're
market.
ready for cloud yet.
Yeah.
For
I,
cloud only.
you're going to need like fiber optic cables surrounding the country.
Yeah.
I don't like cloud. It is okay with certain games, and it's especially like good like on PS Plus when I just want to try something real quick and I don't want to like spend, 20 minutes downloading it.
Yeah.
But you're not getting 60 frames. There's always going to be some form of input lag, and it's never going to be a perfect gaming experience. So I always want to have that option of having my console be able to process quickly. Like I said, it depends on the game and even the player a lot. There's a lot of people I know that like playing on the cloud, but it's just I want the smoothness of the frame rate and the predictability, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
Xbox is going in the direction, but they still sell a console, and they've already said they're going to have a console the next generation. If that happens or not, we don't know, but like they
And
still say
and
that.
they're
So
claiming it's the biggest generational leap in history. I do not
yeah,
believe that at
I
all.
do not for a
I,
second.
We'll believe it when we see it, right? So, and we
Yeah,
know that Nintendo always lags when it comes to technology with that kind of thing. So even when those guys may go more digital or cloud based, Nintendo may play around with it like they had with the Switch. But hopefully they'll get better at it with the cloud functionality with the next Switch. Because I
I
know
like
that
what
with the
Ebersol
Wi-Fi
said.
chip, it wasn't as good.
I like what Ebersol says. On-prem is greater than on someone else's machine, aka cloud.
Yep, that's good technology speak there too. All right, let's talk about some of the things that were said by our community, including yours truly, John here. Which you probably said most of this already, but you said the Switch 2 base model should be no more than 350. The PS5 Pro is a luxury item, but a base Switch 2 is the revenue generator for the Nintendo in terms of software sales. Since the Switch has never gotten a price drop, it is easy to imagine that if they wanted to, they could sell it for at least 250, make the Switch 2 300, and have a launch model with an OLED for 350.
brilliant. I couldn't agree anymore.
Exactly. Mecha Dragon said, I admit I'm willing to pay anything for the Switch, but the price might depend on whether I get it at launch or not. It is 400 or below, most likely. If higher than that, I might have to hold off for a bit. And David said, with the tech that is most likely in the Switch 2, I would say $399. Any higher than that, I might have to hold off a bit. Do the dads think the $700 PS5 Pro price is justifiable given the announcement and the specs? So I think we kind of answered that, right? So
Yeah, my answer is
John's yes.
It is because there's a $450 PS5. If that
Yes.
base model didn't exist and this was like a PS6 at 700, absolutely that's ridiculous. But you can get a $450 PS5. This is for people with too much money to they got to spend their money on something. Look, you guys are talking about buying $300 Lego boxes every week. How penny pinching are we over here?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So,
fair.
but and then you make a good point too. It's like basically they started off with the base model, and then later on they come out with the pro model, so you have a choice. Or if you haven't bought into it yet, maybe there's those people who go from pro to pro. They know, like, since the 4 came out with the pro, and we've heard the rumors of a 5 Pro, they probably waited and opted to get the PS5 Pro instead of jumping in on the base model. So
That would be tough.
I'm sure there's those kind of people too, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Simon Hawkins said, I think it depends on the Switch feature, but I think I'd be prepared to pay £400, maybe maybe a push of £450. And he converted it for us. Thank you. It's US
I converted it
525.
for
Oh,
it.
you did. All right.
I did the
525 to
conversion.
590. Thanks, Jesse.
Speak
You should've
American.
let Simon take the credit for that. It's like Simon converted that.
And then I also added for comparison, OLED model sells for about £310 or about a little more than $400 US.
Yep. So we get ours at a discount. So that's the opinions of everybody, including what we said. At least 89% would pay over $300 to $500 for their Switch 2. What about you guys? Jesse, I don't remember. What did you say? And John, we know you said you'd be able to, you'd throw money at a more powerful Switch
Yeah,
2.
I don't think I did say yet, but the dollar amount I have in my head is $399.
Okay.
So that's kind of right in the middle of that.
Okay. I have another question for you for Tim and Jesse here.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much would the Switch 2 have to be for you to not buy it? Is there a price? Mecca says he will pay whatever. I mean, like, and I know they're not going to go crazy with it, but if it were $700,
if it's more than 5, I'd have to really think about it.
Okay, would you
have to figure
from
out
the Nintendo
why
dads?
Why it's $500, and you know, if it's justifiable.
I mean, it's not going to happen, but like,
Yeah.
is there a limit? Like, you know, I don't know if I have a limit.
Yeah. Again, because I've been a Nintendo fan since day one, because I do the show, I will probably buy one regardless of what it is. But if it's I've got in my head $399. If it's more than $500, I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to do it. If it's $700, at that price point, I really will have to think about it.
You'd buy it though.
Maybe not day one, but eventually. I mean, like
day 2.
Like tax refund.
Yeah. Right.
When I have excess cash.
I would have to sell a lot of things.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I would sell stuff. Yeah, that's what I do.
I don't know if I would. And I have a lot of stuff that I could
again,
sell.
And they're pretty good at selling their stuff, so they probably could talk me into it, but it'd have to be a really good reason why. If it's $700, why is it? Is it because of some new alien technology that keeps it cold and allows me to play
technology?
Exactly. You know, it's like that's what we're paying for.
Or Kotile tech.
I always like the idea of player choice. Give us options. If they're not going to do, if they're going to do, let's say they do the Unthinkable and they do a $700 version, can they do different variations of it so that there's a more affordable version at the $400 range? And then you get a pro version at the $700 range with an OLED or something,
Imagine
and liquid cooled or something,
Imagine a Switch 2 that could play The Witcher at 60 frames. Imagine a Switch 2 where they ported Baldur's Gate 3 to it. I mean,
that's still possible though. Isn't it?
I mean, if we get a Baldur's Gate 3, it'll probably be on the Switch 2.
Yes.
I mean, and it could be like just kind of poor performance, whatever. But imagine you can play it smoothly on a Switch 2. Think of the
Yeah.
value of that would be incredible. So would you pay $300 more than a base model for that? I would sell my PS5 Pro for that.
If so, that's a good point, right? So, because it's going to be, if they're going to sell a system that's on par with the Steam Deck and all of those handheld, PC gaming or Steam gaming systems, and it can compete or be at the level of even the PS5 base model,
Oh, yeah.
that is where it's like, okay, I'm gonna sell stuff so I can get it. And that will
Yeah.
be probably the same thing you're saying, John. I probably will sell my PlayStation 5 because I will have a portable version of that.
Right.
And those third-party companies will more than likely bring some of those games. Yes, I won't be able to play the PlayStation games. But their strategy is to bring those to PC. So if there's something else I'm missing, I might be able to still play that on PC.
Right.
So I'm not really.
I mean, like, all I want out of us, if you told me the Switch 2 had the same power as a PS4, I would be giddy. If it had a PS5, I mean, forget, my head would explode. But like, I'm just pulling for, if it's a PS4,
Yeah.
I mean, incredible, because we've seen what a PS4 can do. It's a powerful machine, right? Last of Us 2 was on it, and most people forget that. But it's like, but like, that game was like crazy looking on a PS4. That would be incredible.
Yeah. It is going to be incredible. That's why I'm excited about what they're going to announce. And I hope I don't get disappointed in whatever it is they do announce. Like I'm not building this up. I hope I'm not building this up too much to where I get let down by what I built it up to.
Build it up. Get excited. It's not going to be more than $400. There's no way it'll be more than $400.
Infrendo asks, how much does a pint of plasma go for?
Right.
You have to sell all your plasma.
This all I'll have left is posters, and everything else that you saw before on the other side of me. I'll probably have to sell my amiibos and
all your hats.
All my hats. I'll be hatless.
Yeah, hatless, but I have a Switch 2.
I'll put my Switch 2 box on my head instead. All right. Anything else? Any last minute comments or any last minute thoughts on the PlayStation 5 Pro? Yes, John.
I got one. I think it is. I love PlayStation. I love Nintendo. I am not a biased opinion. I will say it's horse crap about the vertical stand. PlayStation made their console, and they made a console that required a vertical stand and then did not give it to you. That is so insane to me. Like, I understand, the vertical stand separate. Don't make your system need a vertical stand. The Xbox doesn't need a stand. The Switch doesn't need a stand. Yours needs a stand, and you're telling people...
Even if you set it horizontally, it has to have some sort of support.
Oh, but especially horizontally, yeah. Like,
yeah, it doesn't just sit
to use a stand.
You probably can use something that comes with the box. Just like have you seen, like, I think it's the Asus handheld thing. It comes with a cardboard thing that's in the box that comes out to be able to turn it into a stand, so you can put your Rogue Ally on it.
It'll come with a model for you to 3D print something.
Ooh.
There you that and something to fold up in from the box.
That'd be pretty cool.
Cardboard stand. Put it vertically.
Becca asked, didn't the original PS5 come with a vertical stand? Yes, it did, and I'm using it. I don't know if
came with this.
I don't know if the mini refresh still comes with the stand or not, but the original day one model did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I have the original one, but I put it horizontal because I have it hanging from my shelf using one of those hanger things.
I didn't have that stand on my PS5 for my first couple of years, and then I watched a video and they mentioned a stand, and I was like, "What?" And I looked in the box and was like, "Oh, I never attached this to my PlayStation."
Yeah,
so it's not necessary,
wide enough to stand up on its own.
Yeah, it's not necessary, but like, design your system so it doesn't need a stand. Like, it's so bizarre to me. So that I agree that the vertical stand should be part of the system. They designed it. I get the disk drive is separate because I'm all digital on PS5. I don't need it. And a lot of people don't use the disc, but like the stand is part of the stability of your console. Just design it better. It's so
I
bizarre.
I use it more to watch Blu-ray movies than the actual install games on it.
Right.
Yeah.
All my games are digital, but I still like to watch. I still have a use for the disc drives.
The only other thing I just thought of that could potentially happen for me in my household is if I get another PlayStation, it could be a Pro later on down the line. Because of that feature, because I have the disc version of the original, and we don't have a way to play movies on our main 4K TV. And we have a bunch of old Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. So 4K Blu-rays that we never utilized. So potentially there's a reason why a couple of years down the road I could get one.
Yeah, and our upstairs 4K TV, there's nothing there to play discs on. So, but I still have a digital library of movies that I've ripped over the years that I'm able to AirPlay through Apple
You
TV.
got a fancy network thing going on with your movie.
Yeah.
All right. John, you had your last comment. Jesse, anything else on the PS5 Pro?
Nope.
All right. John, before we let you go, or it's been an hour, you got a half an hour, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into what we've been playing. We can learn what John's been playing. All right, John, what you been playing?
Nothing.
All right.
I was doing a replay of Link's Awakening, and I kept getting freaking stuck in the game. I kept like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? 4 or 5 times, and I'm at a part where I think I need the raft. I don't know where I need to get to. I think it's the desert. I don't know, and I just gave up on it. I was like, this is a game that I beat 5 years ago when it came out. I don't know why. So I quit Link's Awakening. I'm done with Link's Awakening. And so of course I have filled my Nintendo Switch time with Balatro. I'm trying to win every single deck once. I'm just going through them one at a time. I'm not doing the difficulty meters, and I'm getting better and better at Balatro the more I play. And I'm really enjoying all the different decks, the crazy decks that they throw at you. So I've been mostly spending my time Balatro. Great TV time game, and I'm enjoying that. On PS5,
something to play while you have the Mets on in the background.
Oh yeah, it is a great Mets thing, and if we get to the playoffs, I'll be able to play Balatro even more. On PlayStation, I played a little Helldivers 2. Still love it. New War Bond coming out next week. Very excited. I got back into Eldin Ring today, so I'm starting that. I had to beg Hambone for help. I went to beg Hambone for help with a boss because I will get help on the bosses. I love Eldin Ring. The bosses suck. I hate the bosses, so I'm constantly getting help. And I wrote Hambone today, and I said, "Hey, can we do another Eldin Ring date? Like I need your help on one." And then I realized when I wrote him that the last time I got help was from him, and I made my multiplayer password Ham so that we can find each other. And I was like, oh, that's why nobody can help me in the game, because I'm connected to you in multiplayer. So I deleted it, and then I found someone to help me, and then I got past the boss. So I don't need you, Hambone. You can go back to Astrobot. But yeah, the game that I played all week is Astrobot. Astrobot is absolutely incredible, and I know it can be annoying for people to compare it to the 3D Mario games. It is absolutely on par with the 3D Mario games. What they made is it is delightful. It is fun to play. It has so much gaming variety. Every planet feels so different. There's all these power-ups right up until the last level you play where they give you an entirely new power-up out of nowhere. Um, and then all while you're going through these levels, and it's like a 3D platformer. It's a collectathon. You got to find all these little bots and all these puzzle pieces, and then they throw new levels at you and new planets at you, and you find secrets. It's amazing. But every level has like 7 bots you need to find, but like 3 or 4 of them are special bots, and these bots are dressed up like famous PlayStation characters. So you'll find Joel and Ellie in the game. You'll find characters from the Quantic Dream stuff. You'll find Jack and Daxter. You'll find all of these characters. And then you will actually find like characters not just from like Sony, but like Monster Hunter is represented in the game. There's tons of them. Katamari Damacy is hilarious. And by far, my favorite one is the Crash Bandicoot. So there's a Crash Bandicoot character, which is weird because that's now owned by Xbox, right? But it was like PlayStation 1's sort of unofficial official mascot at the time. And if you're in this, when you go on your hub planet, all the characters you've unlocked are there. And if you go over and just kind of punch Crash Bandicoot, it's like his head flies up in the air because it's an astrobot wearing a Crash Bandicoot outfit, much like how they portrayed him in the PS1 days, where remember the commercials where it was like clearly a guy in a Crash Bandicoot outfit.
Where someone is calling out for the plumber boy.
Yeah. And so his mask flies in the air. You see this bot underneath him, and he's like racing to like bring the mask back down on his head. It's hilarious. And it's one of those games that we haven't gotten a ton of that in this generation where it feels like a new gen game. Because you go into the Crash site and it's pretty wild. You can unlock like just over 300 bots, of which I would say half of them are special character bots. And you can call them all in. And so you can actually hit the triangle button and have 300 bots, 150 dressed up as characters, and they're all like moving independently, no frame drop. It's like, what? It's crazy. And then when you play certain levels, there's levels that have sprinkles on the ground, and you punch and you feel the sprinkles in the haptic controller. You hear them from the controller because the controller has a speaker. There's a Tomb Raider level where there's gems that fly down. And I'm not talking like a dozen gems or whatever. I'm talking hundreds of gems are falling down on you. And it's just wild. It doesn't stutter or anything. It's an incredible, it's like a must own. It's a 10 out of 10. And it's so much fun. It's every bit as good as a Mario game. It doesn't, like I said, I love 3D Mario games. I can't wait for the next one. But if you're waiting for the next 3D Mario game, you got to play this one because it's unbelievably good. So they kind of knocked it out of the park with this one. Hopefully we get some more out of this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kind of excited to try this one. I might have to play this. I don't know. We'll see.
It's so good. And there's going to be free DLC as well. So like I think everybody is kind of waiting for that too. I think it's $50 too. I don't even think it's
50.
It's 50, yeah. So it's not even 70, It's 50. It's a must own.
No,
maybe I'll put it on my Christmas list.
It's 60.
Oh, it is 60? Okay.
It's $59.99.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to put that one on my Christmas list. So that'd be a good one to do. All
Your
right,
kids will
Jesse.
love
Yeah, maybe I'll have to get a physical version. That way they can play it on their systems.
it. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jesse, what you been playing?
All right. I'll first talk about Persona 3 Reload, episode Aigis, The Answer DLC, which I think launched yesterday or the day before. But I was able to get about an hour and a half into it yesterday before I had to call it a night. It's a completely separate game mode over the normal game. I don't think you have to beat the original game to access it, though it's highly recommended. Just because of the story, it takes place after you've beat Nyx in the base game. Basically, you find yourself in a time loop, constantly reliving March 31st, and it's like only affecting your dorm. So and again, I don't know how this happens and how it magically appears, but your kitchen table is now a doorway into a basement area called the Abyss of Time. That is where the dungeons
I need to go
area
check my
is.
kitchen table.
So instead of climbing Tartarus 270 odd floors, now you are going down into the abyss. And I've only gotten to like the 6th or 7th floor so far. But yeah, it's like just the opening cinematic before you actually play anything is almost 45 minutes. So
Wow.
have some time.
That's very Persona.
You're not
It is very
jumping in.
It
It's
is
not
very
something you're
Persona.
jumping into, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's okay. I'll be playing more of that, and I'll talk more about it later. But so I'm only like six levels in. Just, and y'all start with a level playing field. Y'all start at level 25, so you don't have your strong abilities from the base game, and they kind of wave it off like, oh well, you haven't been fighting for the last 3 months, so you all got weaker. I'm like, it's weak plot point, but it's an explanation of why you don't have your almighty hand spell or whatever that was called. Okay. The other game that I've been playing off and on for over a month, and I'm finally able to talk about it, Yars Rising. Uh,
Been waiting for a month for you to talk about this.
That's a long.
So I liked the first half of the game. After that, the way it handles itself, I wasn't a fan. I ended up feeling like it was overstaying its welcome around the 2/3 mark. I am currently at what I think is the final boss, and I'm stuck at it. With the main reason why I'm having problems with the end game is your power up system, and I showed Tim this a little bit during the pre-show. You have a certain number of unlocks that are just permanently part of your system when you unlock them. You can't turn them off; they're just there. But most of the upgrades are things you can turn on and off, and you do that because each power up is represented either by like 1 pixel, 2 pixels, sometimes 4 pixels, like a Tetris block. And you've got to fit these things into the pixels of a Yar sprite, of which there's only 26 pixels in a Yar sprite. Now, considering there are 45 power-ups, when you get to the end game, you have to pick and choose what you want. Because if you want to include one power-up that looks like an L-shaped Tetris piece, you might have to yank out 3 other pieces in order to get it to fit. So you really have to pick and choose your power-ups. So like, if I'm able to equip everything, I can have like 250% health. But because I have to pick and choose, I only have one of them equipped. So I have like 115% health max because I want my attacks to have the most firepower, to do the most damage. If I sacrifice that for health, yeah, I might take 6 hits to die instead of 3 hits, but I have to hit him 4 times as many times to kill him. That's not a good balance.
Did you notice any synergies between picking the power-ups?
Well, the power-ups are color-coded.
Okay.
So there's a group that is basically your health. There's a group that's basically how many missiles you can hold. And the missile slots, I'm using that as a generic term. I forget the exact term they use in game, but there are other things you can do that spend a missile slot. So you only get 10 initially. I think you can upgrade it to 20 or 25, but I've only got one upgraded equipped, so I have 15. Okay. Then there's like yellow ones that increases your ability, like the strength of your shot, and the more of those equipped, they stack. So
Do more
that's where I
damage.
have most of my abilities are there. There's some
Okay.
green abilities that enhances your physical attributes. So like later on, you'll learn how you can wall jump. That's one of your
Okay.
permanent upgrades, but you can tack on a temporary upgrade that makes you wall jump better.
Hmm.
Like there's an ability where you can fly vertically in the air for a bit and then float down. That's a permanent upgrade, but a temporary upgrade is you get shot up faster. And there are some parts of the map you need that upgrade equipped, or otherwise you can't reach. So,
Okay.
and then and finally, the biggest thing of the game is the hacking system. For it's used to give you your abilities, unlock doors, and various other things in the game. And so there are hacking bonuses that you can give yourself that so like your little Yar character when you're flying around can go faster, or
Yeah.
like so if you familiar, most of the hacking mini games is based on Yar's Revenge 2600 game from 1982 or one, but over 40 years ago. So if you're familiar with the game, you've got to either like shoot down the shield or you can nibble it, literally eat it. And there is a nibble aspect of the game, both in hacking and in the game world. And then you have to then once you nibble enough, then you have to fly back to the other end to activate the cannon, and then use the cannon to shoot the enemy without it hitting you. And that's how you beat the level. And that's what you have to do in most of these mini games. And of course, sometimes things are following you. Sometimes there's just other random shots going in a pattern that you have to wiggle around. So there's lots of different variations. So like one of the abilities you can equip is you can enable the cannon without having to fly it back to the other end of the screen. Just once you have the energy to do it, you can just launch it right away. And that is a time saver. So you're making your
Nice.
shots do more damage. You can make it so your nibbles do more damage. So when I was in that 50 to 75% into the game, whenever I was like, I would take my overworld abilities, take them out, put in my hacking abilities so I can do the hack, and then when I'm done, then I had to switch them around again. So things that I would like to see that make things better, presets. Let me have preset things so I can just quickly switch back and forth. Give me more than one Yar to add abilities on. Because again, you only have 26 pixels and there are 45 upgrades. Even if each upgrade was only 1 pixel wide, you can only equip half of them. So, have as an upgrade multiple Yars. So you can then add more abilities. So you don't have to swap in and out as often. I think those two things are probably my biggest complaint on the game. Yeah. Early on, I think there was a glitch with how wall jumping worked, but they did fix that in the patch. In fact, in my Let's Play, when I played it on the pre-patch version, I joked because it said version 0.0.01, and I think I made the joke, "Oh yeah, this game knows it's getting patched." Why would you put that in the version number? So it did get patched.
That's not an inspiring version number.
Yeah, but it did get patched to a 1.10 before launch, and I think that's where it still is.
Well, if it wasn't clear too, just in case anybody wasn't clear on it, that you got this early before the launch date, and that's why you hadn't been.
Yeah, I've had it for a month
until
before. The game came out on Tuesday, and I've had it for over a month.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I did have 2 game crashes before the patch, but after the patch, I had never had a game crash, so I think they resolved that. In fact, my Let's Play ends with a crash, and I'm kind of amused by it.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So overall, I liked the first half of the game. when it got to about halfway through, it's it bogged itself down with systems to the point where I thought it started overstaying its welcome. And I purposely did not talk about the end game because I don't want to spoil that for Tim. I might talk about
or
that
anybody listening.
right. So I might talk about that in a few weeks if someone asks. But pay attention to the characters' names. There's an obvious pun, hint,
Okay.
something going on.
Okay.
And yeah.
Howard Scott Warshaw. That's my guess.
No.
I don't know, but I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So it all depends on whether or not.
And also, I don't like Metroidvanias in general. But the fact that I got to the end boss says this is a good game. This is a decent game. I'm just hung up on skill at this point. I just don't think I have the skill to do it. Where, compare that in like Metroid Fusion, I think is my favorite Metroid game. I tried Dread, and I couldn't get past the second Emmy, so I said screw that. And then based on how I've seen how difficult the game gets after that, I'm glad I didn't even try it. So if you are good at this type of game, I think you'll like it, and then you probably won't have the problems I'm having. But I'm having problems at the end. Again, I think I'm at the final boss. My playthrough says 99%. And I'm presuming that's items collected. I have every item in the game. I just have to beat the boss, and I can't do it.
Yes, you can. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, I have this on my Switch. I pre-ordered it and everything, and just haven't been able to play any other game but what I've been playing.
And in terms of time played, my Switch is reporting at least 10 hours. So that's including 100% in the collections. So the game could be played in under 10 in 5 to 10 hours if you're not collecting everything.
Sounds about my range. I like that.
Yeah, I'm saying that as a plus. That is a positive.
Yes.
That does. I think that would be something that would entice me to give it a try if I didn't already have the game.
Awesome. And speaking of the games that I've been playing, I'm still playing, is SteamWorld Heist 2. You guys heard me talk about that enough. John and I talked about it briefly before we started. But I do have a Let's Play video out, basically, of me reviewing my crew up before I got to a certain point of the game. Just kind of wanted to just showing my build out, and would love to hear anybody else who's playing. Would love to see what your crew's all about. How many people you got in your crew. John, how many people did you end up recruiting for your ship?
I had 5.
Okay.
And I won't give any spoilers, but there's a part at the very end of the game where it suggests that you might have some others. And I was like, wait, I was supposed to have more than 5? Because I was like buying weapons and all sorts of stuff with my money. And it was like, I was scared for a second that I really needed more than 5, but I didn't. But of course I ended it on story mode. So maybe I did. I don't know.
I currently have 8 on my ship that I recruited.
Are the individual characters different, or
Yes.
you just give them? Oh, so if you give the same 2 different characters the same weapon, they'll have some different abilities?
They have different abilities, yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I didn't know that until I started recruiting, because for most of the game, probably like the first half, I just had 4. And I got through a lot of the levels with just 4 crewmates.
Okay.
Then I added a 5th, probably around that halfway point, and then it helped a little bit more because I needed something else. Because what I did was I used 4 and then used the job function or the weapon function to change their skills or their jobs or whatever.
Mhm.
So like changing from a sniper to an engineer, and then I changed her from an engineer to a boomer, which I think is a hilarious name. Yeah, so I got 2 boomers on my team. So, but
got any Gen Xers?
The rest of them are. So no, it's I go through a breakdown of what I picked and how I did my breakdowns for jobs and stuff like that. And right now I have 8 crew members. And found that the last 3 that I picked up were, because I picked them up late, were already higher levels. You have to pay for more for them, but they were higher levels, and I just had to unlock their abilities, which had some pretty sweet abilities to unlock. Like one of the engineers I picked up has like this laser beam that just goes through everything. It penetrates everything that it hits, and like you get to use it like once or twice. I don't remember if it gets upgraded to use twice, or if it's, oh no, I think it gets upgraded to be a free action. So it doesn't take away your turn if you use it. So that's come in handy a few times. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that that I found intriguing in finding a way to beat boards and stuff like that. Like we were talking about John in pre-show. Uh, I could have beat a board quicker, but because you get a bonus for beating all the characters on the board in one turn, I tried to go for that. So I did a lot of, go back 2 checkpoints type of thing, so I could retry.
Excessive murder.
Yes. So it's just part of the strategy stuff. It's the whole reason why I liked um, Fire Emblem Engage. So because of this, the strategy behind it and how you could approach battling and getting through a battle, especially when you can make them more powerful and get through a level and just decimate somebody. Like John, we were talking about how they sent us back to that one point in the map from being in the icy area back to the where we started off, and you could kind of go back to some of those areas you didn't play yet. And you probably felt OP when you're going through those boards, right? You're just like, that's
Yep.
that was one of my favorite points too. Is like, oh man, I'm cleaning house. I'm ready to go, through these other things. And it eventually got back to being harder, especially where I'm at now. So I don't want to give it away for anybody who is playing, but I would love to hear, if you are playing, would love to hear about your crew and what you've got and what weapons you chose for your crew. So leave it in the comments. Come join us in our Discord. Come talk about it there. So again, that's SteamWorld Heist 2.
I wish I bought you guys. The one thing I wish the game had was like a couple of undos. Like I'm sure you've run into this, Tim, where you accidentally do the wrong
yes,
thing,
yes.
and you're like it screws up your turn and you cannot undo. You'll have to like you can go back like a whole turn, but it's like no, just let me undo this one guy's turn.
Yeah.
I don't need to go back 2 turns with all my characters because
Right.
you hit the wrong button or oh man, I just wish
Or
they
it
had
was
that.
like
Just small, right?
you couldn't, like you were just off a little bit by your aiming or something, and you wasted a turn because you aimed it wrong or something.
Right. It's probably why they don't give it to you because then you just
Yeah.
keep getting your aim right. But I mean, like, yeah, I picked a move. I thought I had one more action point and I didn't.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, I stopped right in front of the enemy. I thought I could shoot him. Um, that's gotten
Yes.
me a couple times.
Then
I
they
would
get
love
hit
to
in the
have that.
face.
Right. Yeah. Or shot in the face, depending on where they're at.
Just done.
Yep. All right. That's what we've been playing. And before we go on to the community spotlight, John, this is the point where you said you had a hard stop. So is there anything else you wanted to say before you jump off?
No, just like nobody stressed out. PS5 still exists. You don't need a Pro. But if you think you need a Pro, listen to the PlayStation Daily Plus podcast.
There you go.
And
Yes.
There's a plug.
and yeah, we'll talk about it. So but yeah, I'm excited for it. A lot of people are upset about the price. I get it though. You don't need it. That's my message. You don't need the PS5 Pro, but get it if you want it. Spider-Man's reflection in the glass of a building is worth $250 easily.
Imagine what they can do once they've got that machine out there in a year or two. Just imagine
I mean,
what comes out.
can you imagine The Last of Us 3 and what that's going to look like? I mean, it's going to be like
It'd be playing the
psychotic.
TV show, right?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
All right.
Is it
Thanks,
going to look
John.
like
Thanks
the
for coming in.
Mandalorian?
Exactly.
Ooh, that would be cool. That'd be cool.
John, thanks for stopping in and giving us the PlayStation perspective on the news
Thanks,
that we
guys.
got this week. So we'll check you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And with that, let's jump over to the community section before we end our show. All right, shout out again to John, who's in our community as a Blanc and also has the PlayStation Plus podcast that he does. And he's also on Twitch. You can watch him do it live. So if you're not following him over there, PlayStation Plus, you can watch him record his show live over there every now and then. So go check that out. And if you haven't already, add him to your podcast feed. If you're into PlayStation, it's good stuff there. And of course, you can come join us in our Discord and talk PlayStation in our PlayStation channel all you want with them. So that's always fun. And shout out to our community members who are in the chat, who've been hanging out with us, giving us all their opinions and thoughts on today's topic, which was the PlayStation news. Thank you all. I apologize we weren't able to jump into a lot of your comments today, but thank you all, like Vic and Chris and Mecha Dragon and BB. All of you who had
Darth
stopped in at
Platypus.
Ebicel. Yep, Darth Platypus. I'm just scrolling up through here because there's a lot of chatter going on here. Long list of stuff. Quag 313 was in there, or 311, sorry, Quag 311. PM Trucker Paul, he stopped in. I've seen him once in a while come through, so that's awesome he stopped by. Miz was in again, always stops in to say hi. And we had a lot of people coming in today. So thank you so much for stopping in. Probably because John was here. He's popular.
We had the Hypecaster come by.
Oh yes, yes. So one half of the Mega Dads, right? So
Yep.
so they gave us some breaking news there. Mega Dads Pro coming next year. All right. So again, if we've talked about this before, that we have events that go on all the time. So some of those events are game streams. So make sure you are following us, subscribing, all that fun stuff that all of us always talk about. Whoever you follow, they always say like and subscribe and all that stuff. We like the same thing. So if you want to know if we're doing anything live or if we're going to release something new, we're on pretty much all the channels. You can follow us there and get the latest from us there. We also, again, are giving away the Zelda Switch Lite just by being a subscriber to either Patreon or Twitch. So if you subscribe to one of those two places, by the time that Zelda Switch Lite comes out, you'll be in the running to win it. And make sure that you keep listening to us after that date, because in case you win, we got to be able to get a hold of you. So let us know if you, and hopefully you'll be a winner. All right, let's jump into 3 questions, Jesse, that we got from the community. Got one from Warren G. Akers. We haven't heard from him in a while, but he sent us an email. And he said, I recently came into possession of a used Xbox One console. For years, I've been a Nintendo-only person, so I would like to hear your recommendations for games I should check out. Please limit your recommendations to games that are not available on Switch. Also, I prefer single-player experiences. Thanks in advance. So
the first thing I thought of was Persona 3, but then I looked and I think that's Xbox Series only.
okay. But well, is that on the cloud? Can you play that in the cloud? Because if you got an Xbox One and you got cloud Xbox,
I do not know.
The pass.
But again, I don't know if all these games are still available in Game Pass, but they can at least purchase them. But Dragon Quest Builders, I think that was Xbox One. And while I haven't played them yet, I've been meaning to, like the majority of the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
Is there? While we're getting the one game coming on the Switch so far, but there's a dozen of them on the Xbox. So
yes, that is a good one. For me, it's going to be for the Forza games, especially Forza Horizon games. I love racing games, and I didn't get to experience the Forza games until I got to Forza 5. But Forza 4 is really good as well, and I think that was on the 1. But if you can play if you do have Game Pass, can play cloud games. Forza Horizon 5 is in the cloud. So hopefully, I think it still is. But any Forza Horizon games and maybe even the motorsport games, I think those I heard are fun. I haven't played any of those, but I've heard the Forza games are awesome. So, but I highly recommend the Horizon ones and checking that out. So great question, Warren G. Akers. And don't forget, like, I know we don't necessarily play Xbox here, but if you come into our Discord, you should be able to, I think. We have an Xbox channel. You can ask that question there or listen to our friends over on Game Tracker. Well, I think they changed their name though. Jesse, do you know if they changed their name?
I don't
Like
remember
Video
what their
Game
name
Tracker,
is.
I think is now. But that's where Nick and Sean are, who used to be,
Formerly of Game Pass News.
yeah, formerly of Game Pass News. They now do Game Tracker out on their own, doing very well, and they give great information on what games to play for the Xbox. And you can definitely ask them. And even if you come over to our Discord and shout them out there, again, they will probably give you some great recommendations because they're still hanging out there every once in a while. So, all right. And of course, if Justin was here, he'd be able to answer because he's on Xbox as well. He'll probably say Fortnite, but you can play that anywhere, not just Xbox. So, all right. Next question from the Discord side of things, Mecha Dragon, who has to submit at least one question to us every week, which is awesome. How much time needs to pass for you guys to replay and beat a game you played before you ever do that?
And
Would
I
you
like this
only
question.
would you only replay a game if it was remade, released, or remastered, for example?
It depends on the game and specifically how long it takes to play it. I think most games, I need about a year between playthroughs. Like I did a bunch of Zelda 2 earlier this year because of the PC port and with a randomizer. I got my fill of that. I don't think I'm ready to play that again for a while. But bigger games, 100-hour games, it's probably got to be 3 or 4 years before I could play them. Like I've been wanting to play Dragon Quest 11 again. I just haven't found the time to do it. I'm still kind of fighting into a Dragon Quest 8 run that on the 3DS that if I'm playing something else, it gets left on the side. And that was about a 75 to 100-hour game.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, normally at least a year. But if it's a longer game, longer time.
Yeah, for me, I don't typically go back to games. If I do, it's for nostalgic reasons or for what that second part of the question was, is it was re-released or remastered.
Yeah, that does help. Like I probably wouldn't have played Thousand Year Door again anytime soon if it wasn't for the re-release, the
Yeah.
remaster. And still, great game. Still my
I
favorite
hardly
Paper Mario game.
I hardly have time for the new games that we get that I want to play. So I don't usually go back to older games because I don't have the time. I have gone back to kind of scratch that itch, but I don't play it to beat it. It's like I'll go in and play a few moments to start it. Like recently, before I forget what came out, but it was recently I fired up A Link to the Past, started that up. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what this game was like. And then, played it for a little bit. And then something came out, and then I went
Yeah,
back to playing new
yeah.
games.
Same. I remember not liking the end of Link to the Past. Just
Okay.
I need to walk through in a map, otherwise I get confused. So again, that's kind of a deterrent of why I don't play it as often. Where I know other people saying this is my favorite game of all time. I play it every 3 months.
Right. Well, then, I mean, like for me, Metroid Prime is my most favorite game of all time, but I don't go back to that except for when it was in the trilogy when that came out. I played it then, the first Metroid Prime. Um, and then when I needed to scratch the itch for a while, like I broke out the Wii U, put it on my nightstand in my room just so I could play it on the pad next, for a little bit. And then when they came out the remastered one, I played it again. And actually didn't get around to beating that because I was doing something else. Um, but yeah, I don't usually go back to games because of time. I want to because I really enjoyed them, but yeah, not typically. Like the Rebrushed, I played Epic Mickey when it first came out and beat it. And then when Rebrush comes out, when I played the demo, it's actually kind of funny. I played certain things. I was like, I don't remember some of this. It was like, so if I don't remember some of it, maybe I will play it again. But there might be some other
Yeah.
things.
See, that's a weird game because I remember buying it and I remember getting stuck at some point, or I just stopped
Yeah.
playing it. But because of that, I kind of don't have the desire to play it again.
All right.
So
My desire is though to see the demo kind of helped with that,
but
was to see how it plays without the,
but it being re-released would be a catalyst of me wanting to replay it again. But it just kind of never clicked that switch for me.
okay.
But
No
like
pun
Dragon
intended.
Quest 3, yeah, I'm all in on that one.
Right.
Yeah, even though that I've only played 3 once, and that was when it was first released on the Switch when 11 launched. I tried playing 3 on the Game Boy Color, but didn't get far in it. So of all the Dragon Quest games, that's the game I've played the least.
Okay.
So one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to playing it again.
Mecha Dragon follows up his question on our chat and says, I mostly asked this because I've been playing the new Ace Attorney Investigation Collection despite beating these games a couple years ago. So that's why he was asking that. I do want to try and replay some of the Ace Attorney games. And Vic says the rebrushed version looks nice, not so dark and muddy looking like it was on the Wii. Yeah, it's definitely cleaner graphically.
Yeah.
It's like I'm playing
the Wii was a 480p machine.
Yeah. It's like I'm playing a cartoon, essentially. All right. And Darth Platypus asks if you could pick an NES, SNES game to get a new game similar to the Tetris 99, Mario 35, F-Zero 99 on NSO, what would you like to see? And I asked, is it okay if I pick a game from the older handheld as well, too? And he said that's fine. So like the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, GBA, and even the DS. So
And
with that in mind,
I'm glad the second part got added because the first game I thought of was a DS game.
same here, actually. The first one that came to my mind. But go
Bet
ahead,
they're
Jesse. What was
different.
your pick?
I bet they're different games though.
Probably. Go
And
ahead.
you're not gonna be shocked either of what I'm gonna say now.
No, it's probably gonna be Picross, right?
Picross DS had an online mode where you go head to head against one other person and for just here's a 10 by 10 puzzle. It's just random goggly gook. It's not going to draw anything, but the first person to solve it wins. There's nothing to get for winning, but you can it's just bragging rights to that point. But if they said, 99 people do this, have say a 5 puzzle round where first person gets 99 points, 99th person gets 1 point, end of 5, see who gets the best score, and then they get bigger bragging rights. And those 10 by 10s literally take
Nice.
45 to a minute and a half. They go quick.
You know how we get Marty to play against Justin's wife in Dr. Mario?
Yes.
Sometimes I would find it very interesting if you and my wife played this type of game against each other, because you two love the pixel games, and she's very fast, and I imagine you're very fast. So it'd be very interesting to see if that were.
Well, at least I used
how
to
fast
be.
would you guys do?
Things are different now that I'm getting older.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's not bring down the room. All right. We don't need to talk about how old we are. Anyways,
Well,
my
speaking
game.
of that, the title I'm choosing is Two Boomers. Just so you know where I'm going with that.
It's going to be our pictures, even though we're not technically.
No,
boomers.
I've got a picture ready to go. And
Okay, awesome. All right. My pick is also a DS game. It is. Can you guess what it is?
Thinking a racing game of some sort. I don't know. Do they have F-Zero on DS? Mario Kart?
They do have Mario Kart DS, but it's not a racing game. but
Okay.
it goes in line with my top favorite games of all time.
Metroid?
Uh-huh.
Oh, the Hunters?
No, but that would be interesting. But no, it's pinball. Metroid Prime Pinball
Okay.
99. A pinball 99 game. And it could be Metroid Pinball, and they could even do a Pokemon Pinball, like they had before,
Sure.
or Mario Pinball. But it'd be my initial thought was Metroid Prime Pinball 99, where you basically there would be mechanics where you could knock other people out with the pinball, depending on which part of the board you end up in, or you get a high score, or you get the highest score out of 99 and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's other mechanics that could be thought of, but I just thought it would be very cool to have a Metroid Prime Pinball 99 game.
99 multi-balls at the same time.
Or that would be crazy. Oh man. But that was a fun question. I like that one. And that is the end of our questions. And that's the end of our show. So thanks again to John for coming in from PlayStation Plus to help talk us through some of the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement and to talk about it with the potential of a Nintendo Switch successor. Not potential, but how much it would cost and stuff like that. So thanks again for John for popping in here. First, well, I should say second now, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Jacqueline Amir, RJ Kern, and our 100+ patrons. And a special thank you to our 17 Twitch subscribers and over 1,453 Twitch followers. And Bruce, thanks for resubscribing to us. Thank you. I saw that at the end there on Twitch. And a shout out to our 7,696 YouTube subscribers. That means we're 4 away from 7,700 subscribers. So thank you everybody who has subscribed. And if you know anybody who should subscribe, share our videos, tell them why they should subscribe, all that fun stuff so we can get to that 7,700. But again, don't forget, if you subscribe to us on Patreon or Twitch, you will be entered to win a Zelda Switch Lite once it comes out. We have it pre-ordered, so we know we're going to have it in hand, and you could potentially win it. Check out our website at nintendodads.org for Spotify podcast feeds on all our family of podcast shows, including Star Wars Dads. That's our friend Bruce here in the chat who resubscribed to us. So please subscribe to them on their podcast feeds, and also our Retro Logic family of podcasts. Listen to them as well if you're into the retro scene. Our latest YouTube videos are there, our tweets are there, all our social media is there, as well as our links to Patreon and Extra Life pages. And don't forget, Extra Life is coming up at the beginning of November. So join our team if you haven't joined, or go support us there at Extra Life. Again, our link is at nintendodads.org. You can also get Nintendo Dads merch by looking, if you're on YouTube, right below the video, there is probably a long line of merchandise you can pick from. Pick up something, help support us there, and help support our anniversary of 10 years of podcasting. And we're coming up to, 5 more episodes to get 500. Yay. So we'll be doing some big giveaways, hopefully, for that soon, and do something awesome. We're going to be doing something, but not as big as we had hoped for. Because now we're trying to see if we can tie it into the Switch 2 when that comes out, and see if we can do something with that. Stay tuned as we figure this stuff out. So, because we're just some dad trying to do this stuff. Anyways, don't forget to check out our sponsor, manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with code NINDADS, NINDADS, at manscaped.com. Remember, they got a bunch of new products there you can check out to get 20% off, and you can use that 20% off for subscriptions too there to get, soaps coming to you every now and then automatically. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NINDADS, or NDADS, or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. Download from your favorite podcast app of choice, and please leave us a 5-star review and a comment that helps others to be able to see us. For me, for Jesse, for John, our guest host, and Justin and Marty, we'll check you later, and until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into Nintendo Dads.
I don't know what animal this is or what Pokemon this is,